Hi everyone, welcome back to The Technical View, where we take a technical analysis point of view of the world markets and just see where they're heading from a chart perspective, looking at classical chart patterns, classical chart targets and that sort of thing. It's really, really cool, a little bit of fun, and a good way to look at the markets from another point of view. Obviously, we look at the S&P 500, we look at the Down Under Australia All Ordinaries, where I personally trade, the BSE 30 in India, the Shanghai Composite in China, and the FTSE, of course, in Europe as well. Let's start with the S&P 500 as we normally do. And about 2 weeks ago, I made a call on how to actually find, or what I was personally looking for a market bottom. What that was this actual single bar here. So a couple of days later, that actually happened, which is great. Happy days, hallelujah. What that bar was the high open went all the way down throughout the day, and then a high close as well. Usually in its top third, or like in the top third of that particular bar. Now, when that happens, a move above that, or even a close above that, is a typical buy scenario for a lot of short-term traders, and then the stop loss would be at the bottom of the bar. And so, that did happen. And then last week I was talking about how to manage that trade, or how some traders manage that trade. Basically, usually once it goes up 1 times the risk, so that amount there, once it moves up that amount again, which it looks as though it has, or very close to it, then what they will do is actually put their stop loss to break even and work with a theoretically risk-free trade from there on in. So you might see quite a lot of people writing that risk-free trade, in inverted commas currently. Obviously, it's a very short-term trade, and we're still looking at a significant amount of overhead resistance at about 2100 on the S&P 500, but it's a long way away. So that trade could potentially go all the way to that level. The other short-term thing that I was looking for was a little zigzag up, and that just looks like this. Yes, that has also happened on the S&P 500 as well. So short-term entry signal for the S&P 500. Still considering that the longer-term trend is sideways to down. Let's check out the All Ordinaries as well. Down Under, this is the market that I personally trade. Really, really similar scenario. Over the last couple of months, we've been looking at this head and shoulders pattern, and that's still in place, really. As I said, we've got that longer-term downtrend still until that level is breached, which is about 5,300 on the All Ordinaries. So medium to longer term, still technically in a downtrend, moving the same as the S&P 500, found support at that neckline, which is absolutely fantastic. I mean, look at that. So you've got level of support, support, and then most recently found support at that exact same level again. It's not a horizontal level. A lot of people get fooled by those. They think that everything has to be, straight lines in the market. That's not the case. The market moves with emotion. So obviously that trend line is dynamic. So we've got, it's moving down every time. And that's exactly where it found support. How cool is that? I think it's great. And again, the same as the S&P 500. We did have a bit of that single bar. I didn't call it personally, and that's fine. That happens. What we're looking for short term, it is moving into that zigzag up scenario. And obviously keeping in mind that large overhanging resistance at about 5,300 on the All Ordinaries. Let's quickly check the Shanghai Composite. This is another great one, and this is exactly the same scenario. You guys have been following me now for at least a couple of months since I've been back. The exact same scenario, and this is the exact level that I've been calling over the last sort of couple of weeks, was that support level. It wasn't the straight line support level, even though that did happen as well. So there's previous support, and that's where the market did find support there. However, I was calling for it to go further to that lower level of support, which is the actual dynamic trend line. So, that's where it's finding support currently, which is really, really cool. If we were to look at the price extension, so moving from the previous move and then moving 100% from that previous move, the potential for the downside on this move is around 2,440. So yeah, and considering the way that China is, it still is in a downtrend, obviously, and that's that big overhanging downtrend resistance. So yes, it has found support. Obviously, it's still very much in a downtrend, and it's still very much in a long-term downtrend as well. Guys, let's quickly check out the BSE30 in India. Now, again, over the last couple of months, I've been looking at this channel, and we called this move here that it couldn't go above that resistance. That's exactly what's happened. And the next level of support, what I was calling for, was the 24,000 level. And hallelujah! I mean, this stuff is so simple. It's just lines on a chart, really, really simple stuff. And yet, it's just nailed it. It's absolutely fantastic. This is a particular channel. The 24,000 level has found support, and now it's moving back up. I think it's about, what, 24,870 currently on the BSE 30. So obviously still, guys, there is that overhanging resistance at about 27,000 on the BSE 30. A lot of people have just been trading that range, so buys, sells, and now buys, obviously. It's still only in the very early stages of a short-term uptrend, so I particularly wouldn't count anything to that myself. However, it looks as though that channel is still working. And we called it ages ago. It still looks like it did find that support. How cool is that? Last but not least, let's check out the FTSE in Europe as well. Now, again, same scenario, big overhanging resistance. Oh, if I didn't move the trend line, very simple stuff. There it is there, still overhanging resistance at about 6,250 on the FTSE. Now, again, same scenario. Look at that dynamic trend line that's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to 7. It did blast through it a little bit, but ultimately it still found that support. The only trouble is with this is now that the ranges are actually getting narrower, and so more and more narrow. So what that means is that ultimately we're going to see a breakout out of this range at some point in the future, obviously. However, as the range gets narrow, it's like a spring coil, and you'll usually find that it really shoots up or down, whichever way it truly breaks out once that does happen. And simple as it is, that is the world from a technical analyst's point of view. How simple is that? And yet, what great stuff. I mean, I really, really love this stuff. It is so cool and lots of fun to do as well. Guys, stop by the website. It's asxmarketwatch.com. Heaps of free videos and courses there. Please stop by. It'd be great to have you. Check out the other videos on my YouTube channel, and have a great week. Happy trending until we meet again. Bye for now.